Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We sure are happy that you're here for our video today. We are making a wonderful dessert that is just in time for St. Patrick's Day. We are making grasshopper pie. Now this is a really old recipe. Well, let's say it's a version of a really old recipe. Grasshopper pie came about somewhere between the 1920s and the 1950s, depending on who you believe. And this dessert came from a drink back at that time period, back in somewhere between the 20s and 50s, that was called a grasshopper cocktail. Now, the way I've read, if I understand it correctly, the grasshopper cocktail was kind of a minty version of eggnog. And this pie was developed to kind of mimic that cocktail drink. Well, Melissa and I are not drinkers, so we don't put the alcohol in. Instead of using the creme de menthe and whatever else went into that, we just use peppermint extract and vanilla. So we're going to show you how we make a grasshopper pie today. Let's talk first about what we're going to use to make our grasshopper pie. We're going to start with a 1 pound, 2 ounce bag of Oreos. Now I'm using mint Oreos because this is a mint pie, but you do not have to use mint Oreos. You can use just regular plain old Oreos and it works perfectly fine. I've done that. When I started making grasshopper pie 40 years ago, 50 years ago, there weren't mint Oreos, and I just used regular Oreos. There have been times that I had a box of chocolate graham crackers in my house, and I didn't want to go buy something else, so I used chocolate graham crackers to make my crust. That works too. You use whatever you need to. And if you don't want to make your own crust, I'm going to tell you, you can buy a chocolate graham cracker crust that's pre-made at the store and use that and skip the first step. That's up to you. All right, so we're going to use a bag of Oreos and we're going to use 1 stick of butter, and that's 8 tablespoons that we're going to melt to stir into those Oreo crumbs to make our crust. We're also going to use 3/4 cups of whole milk and 25 large marshmallows. We're going to melt those together. Then we will add to that 1 teaspoon of peppermint extract, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 or 3 drops of green food coloring. Now, I can already hear somebody ask, do I have to use the food coloring? No, of course you don't. Traditionally, this is a green dessert, and that's because it is mint. And so, people put the green food coloring in to make it look like a mint dessert. But if you just don't want to use food coloring, you can leave it out. It will be fine. That adds nothing to the flavor or the taste. It's just for coloring. We're also going to use 1 cup of heavy whipping cream that we are going to whip until it's very stiff. Now, the last 2 ingredients up here are optional. I've got a chocolate candy bar that I'm going to put in the refrigerator or the freezer. And if you want, you can grate that over top of your pie, just a little bit of sprinkling of chocolate candy bar over it. Or you can chop up some Andes mints, and this is wonderful on top of it. Well, that's my opinion. Or you can do both. And we are going to reserve 1/4 cup of our Oreo crumbs that we can sprinkle on top of the pie as well. So you can either choose to do the Oreo crumbs or the chocolate candy bar that you grate, or chop up some Andes mints. And you know what? If you want to do all three, do all three. It's your pie. You can do what you want to, right?
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So our first step is that we have to crunch up our Oreos, get Oreo crumbs to make our crust. So let's get started. The first thing we have to do is turn our Oreos into Oreo crumbs. So I'm going to use a little food processor here to grind those up. If you have noise sensitivities, Turn the volume down on your computer or phone. All right, here we go. Well, if I can get the lid on quickly, there it is. Okay. Okay, we have finished crushing up our Oreos. We have all those in a bowl here. And we have melted our 1 stick of butter. So we are ready to make our crust. So we're just going to pour our butter in there. Melissa, I'm going to reach behind you and grab a spoon. And we're just going to pour our butter right in here with our Oreo crumbs. I'm doing it backhanded again.
Okay.
And then we will stir those together. Okay. Once we have these completely stirred up, make sure all of our crumbs are moist so they will stick together. You know what I didn't do? I didn't take out 1/4 cup to use on top of the pie.
Well, now we've eliminated one of our 3 toppings.
Exactly. We won't have crumbs on top of the pie.
You know, we're just making our choices easier.
I took that 1/4 cup and set it over here to the side and completely forgot it. Oh well. Those things happen, don't they?
That's right. And, you know, that's the biggest mistake we make today. We're in pretty good shape.
Well, I probably have already made a bigger mistake than that today. I don't know, but I'm sure. Okay. Our cracker crumbs are pretty well mixed up. So let's get those into our pie plate. And I did spray the pie plate. So hopefully this cookie crumb mixture won't stick. I'm going to start with that amount right there. And we're just going to, by the way, we have preheated our oven to 400 degrees. I'm just going to take my hands and press that cookie crumb. Boy, it's dark in here. Can you turn, let me reach over you and turn that light on right there. I don't know if that'll help or not.
Get rid of some
Maybe a
shadows.
little, yeah. I have preheated our oven to 400 degrees because we are going to bake this for 5 minutes. And I will tell you that I have found in the past that if you make this thin enough, press it out nice and thin, it makes it easier to cut once it's cold. If it's too thick, it does make it kind of hard to cut through the crust once it gets really cold. We are going to put this in the freezer before we fill it and after we fill it. So you do want this crust to be fairly thin. I like to go right around the edges like that, around the bottom edge, and just make sure that it's pressed up the side. Just like that. Because you don't want it too thick down in that bottom corner.
It smells good already.
It does, doesn't it?
I like the mint smell.
Mm-hmm. Now, do we know anybody who would not like this pie?
That would be our son-in-law.
Yes, indeed. Melissa gave them something minty one time.
No, we were just,
mint chocolate ice cream.
No, we were just out and I got mint chocolate
You got mint chocolate ice cream.
He always teased me about, why would you get ice cream that tastes like your toothpaste?
Yeah, we hear that occasionally. And when Melissa and I are out and she orders mint chocolate ice cream, mint chocolate chip.
I always send him a picture.
I was getting ready to say that. She always sends Luke a picture of her ice cream. And
Wish
says,
you were here.
Wish you were here to have some mint chocolate chip ice cream with me.
I'm not sure he truly appreciates my humor, but...
Should I say not many people do?
Oh, wait a minute. That was not very nice. I should have my feelings hurt.
No, I'm teasing you. I'm just teasing. But he does not like mint flavor. Now, I can tell that it's really thick right here. So I'm just going to move some of that over because I can tell I have a thin spot right there. So I'm just going to push it over. Now, something's going to happen here that rarely happens on this channel. I'm not using all this because I don't want it to be too thick. So, I have a little bit. If I had saved some out for the topping, it would have come out just about right, but I didn't. Okay, so we have our crust pressed in, and now we're going into the oven for just 5 minutes. It doesn't take long. All right, in we go. We have our 24 marshmallows in our pan. I'm going to pour our 3/4 cup of whole milk right on top of those. And we're going to turn our heat on to medium and let those start to melt. Now, while they are coming up to heat and starting to melt, we need to stir them. You do not want these to stick. It would be best if you would use a non-stick or a heavy-bottomed saucepan. You don't want to use something that's very thin because it will have a tendency to stick if you do that. So use a heavy-bottomed pan or something that's non-stick. And this is going to take probably 4 to 5 minutes for it to melt. So we will just keep stirring and let it start to melt and come together. We'll be back when it's almost ready. You can see that our marshmallows are almost completely melted. There's one little piece right there that I see. But other than that, it's melted. So I'm going to turn my heat off. I'm going to remove that from the stove. And I am going to set that in an ice bath because we want to cool that down quickly and completely. Now, the mixture, the marshmallow mixture, doesn't have to get cold, but it does need to be cool to the touch. And that's going to take a little while. So we're just going to let it sit here in this ice bath and let it cool off. While that's cooling, our pie crust will cool. And when those are both ready, we'll finish the recipe. You can see that our marshmallow mixture has cooled and thickened. And now we're going to add in our peppermint. There's 1 teaspoon of peppermint. We're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, I'm using this vanilla paste, but you can use an equal amount of vanilla extract. It will work just the same. You don't have to have the paste. And we need about 2 to 3 drops of green food coloring. But this does not have a way to do drops. So I'm going to try my best to do just a little bit. Hope I don't overdo it. We might have really green pie. Well, yeah, I did. But you know what? It just is what it is, right?
It'll be fine.
It will, because we're going to stir in that whipping cream. So that'll help calm it down some. Ooh, I can smell that peppermint. Yum.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
Very fresh.
Scrape the sides. Get it all blended. Get around this side. And now we're just going to leave this sit here while we whip our heavy whipping cream. All right. So I'm going to go right over here. And I did stick our bowl and our whisk and our heavy cream in the freezer for just a little bit, probably 30 minutes. So I'm going to measure out 1 cup. I'm going to get that whisk on there first. I'm going to measure out 1 cup of our whipping cream. that right in and start whisking. Okay. Now we want that to be really, really thick. So we're gonna whisk it until it becomes stiff peaks, comes to the stiff peak stage. I'm gonna have to turn that up and start whisking some air in there. You can see how thick our whipping cream has gotten. See that? So we're going to stir that into our marshmallow mixture. And I'm just going to tell you, I realized after I started whipping this is probably not enough to fill this pie shell, this pie plate. I had to go buy, sorry, I should have moved that. I had to go buy a pie plate to make this today because I forgot to bring a pie plate with me. And the only pie plate that I could really find was this one that's kind of a deep dish pie plate. And I kind of forgot about that when I was making this. So I'm going to whip another cup of heavy whipping cream to stir into this. I don't think it will hurt at all, but I think it will make the pie better because it will fill the shell a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in. And to fold, you just go under and over. We're not stirring, we're just folding. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put another cup of heavy cream in this bowl and let it start whisking. Oh, I have it backward. Did I? No, I didn't. Thinking. So let me grab my heavy cream. There's one more cup in here, so I don't have to measure it. I know there were 2 cups to start with. So I'm just going to pour it all in there. Whoop, and let that start whipping up. Now while that's whipping, I'm going to go over and continue and finish, hopefully, folding in this first batch of whipped cream. You just want to get all those white streaks out of there. You can see I'm just going under and over, under and over. Now I know those of you who have done this your whole lives already know how to fold. But we have some new cooks on here, people who are just learning. So right now I'm trying to show them how to fold. You just want to keep doing that very gently. You're not stirring it. You're not trying to deflate it. You just want to fold that whipped cream in. Okay, let's get the rest of this whipped cream to stiff peaks, and we will come back and get it in, and then we'll put it in our pie crust. All right, we have our second cup of heavy whipping cream whipped. So I'm just going to add our marshmallow mixture to it. So I have a little bit bigger bowl to work with. We'll get all of that in there. All that out of there now. Don't want to leave anything. Everybody to come to the party, don't we? Okay. It's pretty good. And now we'll just start folding this second cup of heavy whipping cream. If you're not using a deep dish pie plate, then just use 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. If you're using a deep dish, you might want to consider using 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Might just help fill your pie plate a little better. And I think the other ingredients will all be okay with the same measurements, especially if you're using the mint Oreo cookies. That's going to help the mint taste. And we are going to put some Andes mints chopped up on top of it. So that's going to help the mint flavor too. And we just have to keep folding now until we see no more white in here. We don't want to see any specks of that heavy whipping cream that's not stirred in. So just keep gently folding. Get it all folded in. I think that's pretty good. Melissa, do you see any white streaks?
I do not. That looks really nice.
I think that looks really good, and I like that green. I was afraid I put too much food coloring, but honestly, I think it looks pretty good. So we're just going to put our pie filling right in our pie crust. Now this is not ready to eat. You're going to have to put this in the freezer and leave it for at least 2 to 3 hours. You want it to firm up really well. And if you leave it so long that it's really frozen solid, that's okay. Just set your pie out about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you're going to serve it. And let it soften just a little. You don't want it to completely soften because you want it to remain firm, but you might want to set it out just for a few minutes and let it kind of soften up a little bit before you try to cut it. Okay, there's our pie. Isn't that pretty for St. Patrick's Day?
It's perfect.
It really is, and I'm not going to scrape that off.
Oh, that's going to be a little treat for somebody here tonight.
It is. Anyone want to guess who that's a treat for? I'll let you figure it out. Okay, so our pie's going in the freezer, and as soon as it firms up, we'll come back and do a taste test. Our pie has been in the freezer for a couple of hours. It's not completely frozen, but it's cold enough and it's going to hold together, I'm pretty sure. It's late in the evening, and Melissa and I just needed to finish this video because it is late. So we're going to show you how we're going to finish the top of it. By the way, I did take it out of the freezer about 5 minutes ago, so it's just started to come back to room temperature, but it's still really cold. So I've taken some Andes mints. Actually, this is 15. I've gotten 5 more out to show you. And I just stacked up 5. And I'm just cutting straight down through them. So we have little chunks of Andes mints. And I'm just going to use those in kind of in the center of the pie just to decorate it. And then around the edges, I'm going to do some chocolate. And all I did was take a chocolate bar and my vegetable peeler and just peel the edge of that chocolate bar. And you can see that it just makes little chunks, little pieces that fall right down in my bowl. And those will be delicious around the edge of the pie. Now this is a milk chocolate bar, but you can use whatever you would like. If you want to use dark chocolate, that would be really good too. So your choice, whatever you would like. I think I might have enough of these, but we'll see. If I need to do more, I can. So I think I'm going to take this and just decorate around the edge, the outer edge of the pie. You don't want to do too much because you want to be able to see that green color from the grasshopper pie. You want it to look like a grasshopper pie, so don't overdo it. Just a little bit around the edges. And then I'm gonna put a little bit right there and right there. Okay, And then maybe just a few pieces of Andy's mints, kind of in the middle, because after all, they are mint. And who doesn't love a chocolate mint? Melissa and I do.
Always.
In fact, we had dinner tonight at Olive Garden. And, of course, if you've been to an Olive Garden, you know that when the meal is over, they bring you the bill and 2 chocolate mints each. It's one of my favorite reasons for going to the Olive Garden. All right. Let's have a piece of pie. Now, this is not completely frozen. Like I said, you really should wait until it is frozen all the way through. But
And it will be when we share this tomorrow with our friends.
that's right. We are going to share this. Melissa and I are having one piece, and that's it. Let me see how big my... Okay. So it needs to be about right here. I got this edge just a little thick. I can tell from cutting. It's a little thicker than the bottom.
It's all about a homemade pie crust though, right?
It really is. You know what? If you can't do a homemade crust, you can sure buy a chocolate graham cracker crust at the store and use it, and there's nothing in the world wrong with that. Lots of people are busy, especially people who are working full-time, and they just need sometimes to use a shortcut.
How pretty is this?
Can you see it, babe? All right, let's do a little taste test here. Babe, you ready?
I am.
Got you a piece of Andy's mint. Yeah,
That is so good.
it could be a little more frozen than this.
I like it.
Ooh.
And I think when it's a little more frozen, it's going to be even better.
I think so too. That's really good.
Yeah. I hate that it's so late because I could eat, like a whole slice of that.
You can. Nobody's stopping you.
I know. I just try not to eat so late at night.
I
And
know.
we are going to have some with our friends tomorrow, so that'll be good.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for watching our video. Remember that right below the video, there's a description box. You'll see the title, Grasshopper Pie. If you click anywhere in that box, it will expand. You'll find the written recipe. You'll find our address, our mailing address, in case you want to send us a recipe to consider for our Sunday subscriber series. And under that, you'll find a link to our Amazon store where you can purchase our cookbook if you would like to purchase it. At the very bottom, there's a place where you can leave us a comment. We really would appreciate you doing that. We love hearing from our subscribers. Directly under the video, there's a thumbs up button. That's the like button. We would appreciate you clicking that. And if you haven't before, we invite you to click that subscribe button. There's a little notification bell beside of it, and if you click it in the word all, YouTube will send you a notification every time we put up a new video. So we invite you to click that subscribe button. We do appreciate you being here for our video today. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you'll give the Grasshopper Pie a try. We hope you'll try it out and like it as much as we do.
Perfect for St. Patrick's Day.
It's perfect for St. Patrick's Day. And we do want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. But most of all, we want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.